Hello, hello, everyone. I'm just gonna keep this healing music on until we all get back, but also until I find it, because who knows where that's coming from. It's a typical thing to have happen. The Atlantean frequency. Okay. We'll wait for people to hop on. My last call was getting muffled, all the sound. So this is a bit of a different start to a video because we're actually like 20 minutes in. So if you want to catch the perhaps muffled, perhaps going in and out sound video, that one will be posted, but I don't know how valuable it will be. Hopefully this one is working already. So just let me know if it is. If you're here, just let me know that the sound is working. And I know there's a little bit of a delay, but I was liking where I was headed with that. Loud and clear. All right, great. Yeah, so maybe my microphone is having issues. We'll see. We'll see. It may be just that it was a fluke today, hopefully a fluke. But anyway, we were talking about the romance reading that we are doing for this weekly energy. And I was saying that, because of this Primrose Youthful Love and Guardian Heliotrope devotion and dreams fulfilled, it feels like an important time to be, no matter if you're in relationship with someone or not, to be in a positive ideation. I was getting a lot of messages earlier walking down the hill of like romanticizing your life. And I just put up my clan like tea towel, like clute, just piece of fabric with a bunch of things about the Graham family and sort of our ancestors, our heritage. And I had it folded up for a long time. And so getting some sticky tack was a mission today. And so, anyways, I'm saying that really to say that this whole week is about nurturing energy. And so that also means nurturing your thoughts and nurturing whatever it is you are feeling drawn towards with this like care, this sense of care. So even if it's career and you're focusing on that nurturance there, it could be like, what do you need to nurture? What do you need to water in your business or in your career in order to have it, fruit, even much like yield much more fruit is sort of where that's headed. There's a lot of visuals coming into my mind, so I'm interested in answering questions. If you're here and you were watching on the other video, unfortunately, I don't have those questions saved. So please do ask me if you'd like a general energy for a specific area of your life, or if you have a specific psychic or oracle question for me. I am going to pull a Romance Angels card. Yeah, sorry for the interruption of having to switch over there, everyone, but I'm glad people are drifting, finding this. Okay, yeah, so we have separation. So I do feel like the vast majority of people, like I feel like many people are going to have this, many people in this collective here are going to have this heart awakening and warming and connecting type of vibe. And the separation, this time apart from your partner, it feels like your person, your next person, if you're single and like open to love, then this next person I feel like is focusing on things that they need to do this week. And the stuff that you need to do this week is really like building kinder, again, it's like building this kinder kind of thought bubble around you, so much so that you just feel like sharing with everybody, and it's like warming your heart to all of those around you. And while your partner focuses in, I feel like this person is focusing in, lasering in on securing something that, kind of later on, you'll both go, oh, well, that was so important that happened at that time. That's what it feels like. It feels very specific. So that's from someone's partner. If you're single, that's like your next partner that you don't know them yet, but it feels like they're like working really hard on something like security wise. Okay. And then the people who are in relationship, I feel this like separation is kind of more of a mental separation. Sometimes when you're in a connection with someone, you can have that time where it just feels like you're both on different wavelengths or both doing your own thing kind of. And so it's important that you actually nurture yourself and find this renewed sense of like looking for what both of you are lit up by. That's what it feels like. Both of you being lit up, and like, what is the shared dream? That's what I'm feeling for that group. What is the shared dream this week? Okay. Let me know what your Oracle questions are. Again, I didn't invite Instagram today. I just kept it between us, YouTube. And yeah, I'll keep coming back for Sunday not Soul Circle. I do Soul Circle after this. Sunday with our collective energy live readings. I do like doing them. Yeah, but I'm really excited for different videos as well. Oracle can get us very far, and it's something that I really do utilize even for myself to assess feelings, and it's like a beautiful way to hone our sensitivity towards information and towards relations to things as well. It's been such a beautiful guidance for me. And it also, it has its place. There's lots of other things as well that I'm happy to teach more about. So that is the love reading. I'm happy to like expand more into that or do more on the career side as well. If there's no questions today from anyone who's watching, or if no one would like a reading, then that's okay as well. So we'll hang out. I'm gonna pull from this deck, the super attractor deck, because I was feeling a bit for like the career and creative project manifestation energy. Jay, you can definitely get a reading for career for sure. Do you have any question about it? I'm happy to answer a more specific question. You know me. Okay. When I make joy a priority, brilliant ideas will come naturally, support will surround me, and movements will form. So here's another thing about this nurturing card, right? Is she's sort of like parting, and Mother Nature sort of parting this big valley. And I live in an area where there's lots of valleys and things, right? So the highlands, there's highlands and lowlands, I guess, but that's a silly joke. So having this like pulling apart kind of energy of on the earth. Years ago, I mean, this was from glaciers, right? And so it was like all this ice, and it carved a path through this land. And I'm seeing it kind of like moving, almost like parting of the seas. Like there's very much like a miracle type of energy with this week as well. But what I was seeing was kind of this nurturing and yet powerful, like Mother Nature is soft and yet extremely powerful. Jay, that's okay. Okay, so it says brilliant ideas will come naturally when joy is a priority, right? When joy is a priority, when joy is at the top of your list of importance to shift into energetically, at least at some point every single day, then brilliant ideas come naturally and support automatically surrounds you, because that is what it is what happens. Support will likely surround you no matter what. And definitely when you're bringing a joyful attitude into the equation, it tends to surround you that much easier, and movements will form. So I love this, that brilliant ideas and then movements. And I kind of hear this energy of like making a statement or creating a movement or something like that. So that might be in someone's mind here. Okay. Jay, can I get a reading for career? I guess I'll stick with the same deck to start. The manifestation deck. Woo. Okay, you've got 3 cards here, and then I think I will also get Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. These flowers are still so lovely, even though a couple of them are starting to go, but they bring me so much joy. They really do. Talk about making joy a priority in your life. Taking care of plants really is a joy for me. It's a very like quiet kind of joy. Putting up that clan fabric was such a joy to me today because I really get a lot of excitement over making a space nicer. And so I see the vision coming to life. All right, Jay, another card here. You have the map maker of destiny. And I see this being in alignment with you, that you'll be doing a lot of work that is like drawing and planning and designing in that kind of, I would say, a quiet way. I see you actually having like a really smooth wood desk in your office, but kind of some like, I'm getting, it's very like smooth, but like earthen, but like just like a very nice computer screen. It feels like a very like, I don't know, it's tough to describe, but it feels luxurious, like a very different type of computer screen. So that's an interesting vision of like a little office. It's almost like it's just very clear, and it's a very clear image. So I'm trying to describe more of it to you, but it's kind of like very 70s style actually, but in like a nice open way. And it feels like there's lots of trees that are in like a good view from some of the windows. It's quite interesting. No problem, Alexandra. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here as well. Please resubmit a question. Ask your question again, because I know you had one on the other live that obviously I didn't transfer over here. So J for career, it says authentic purpose, inspiration, and free will. So I see this being like, the advice is to allow yourself to guide your own career through through your ideas, like through these pure, inspirations. I'm specifically noticing this fairy at the bottom. It's very difficult to see clearly, but there's a fairy at the bottom who has her foot on a telescope. And so I see like the ability for a smooth, nicely designed office space. I know this sounds really interesting. You're like, okay, but why would I just do that out of nowhere? But you'll be doing some other work to support the building of one nice office somewhere in the middle of nowhere, that's on like a specific property that feels really interesting to you, and that you'll be able to bring your idea to life on like a smaller scale because of the like way that you thought about what you needed from a property in order to make that dreamy office space idea work. It's really interesting, but that feels like an important part of the equation for you is like building a space that matches the quality, the level to which you could see yourself doing this in. And I also see that you'll have people who you connect to do some of your work, like answering up to you, and that you're also going to be called upon by others from like above you in a sense, but you'll feel like you're kind of an independent contractor, operator type, designer, whatever matches there. Okay. So very much like inspiration, and then also that very clear vision of the office and that room. And then you have true manifestations are powered by service and love. So thinking about like, what is it that you could actually do right now that would be of a really good service to people, that could earn you income that feels connected to design, connected to home, connected as well to space and to nature, and also to people who would be interested in that. So I feel like there is an idea there kind of bubbling, brewing. And so as long as it feels like aligned with service, and we're just like, oh, I would just love to do that, then that's the stuff that's like ding, ding, ding. And because that struggle of like maybe not feeling soft enough to sort of be like, no, I love doing this, to actually commit that feels like this, almost this element of separation between you and like your dream ideas, is sort of this ability to commit to things that you really love and want to do. And then we also say, I am in awe of the magnificent guidance that is available to me. This feels very planetary as well. So it could be about like taking walks at night and then logging your thoughts. I feel like taking your spiritual support more seriously, I feel like. And then also it says, my ability to receive is measured by how much I practice good feeling thoughts. And so I do feel like this is an important part of the equation. It's focusing on feelings, what feels right, what feels good, but also what feels in alignment for you as it relates to career. And being able to like fully receive that, right? To say, commit to loving doing something and then to receive the love that you put into something back. So it's about making an investment of your time to allocate towards a skill that's really going to feel like you're doing a good service with your design in mind of how you could make an impact on things. And I feel like you're going to have some small projects and some luxury projects, even kind of right out the gate. So you're going to have to kind of build space for what those two things look like and what unifies them. That was a lot of information. So let me know if you have questions about that. And you can always come back and watch the replay. Alexandra, I see your question, and I also see Pamela's. I'm going to switch to Pamela's and then I'll answer Alexandra's. Pamela says, I'm grieving this week, so feel quite quiet. I know the feeling. Part of that's this like full moon, the Cancer kind of upcoming, but the Capricorn, it's very much focused on like independence and self-sufficiency and security and things like that as well. So part of this grieving, I feel like, is also cementing some kind of, oh, that's really sad. That's really sad. Yeah. My heart is going out to you, Pamela. That's just, there's no way to make that easier or better kind of sounding. It just is, it's a really tough thing. And I do feel like part of your healing is going to be finding these things that are like stable and like habits of things that feel nurturing to you. Committing to self-love and heart healing. So this heartwarming and heart opening time could feel like in direct contrast to the experience of grief. But you are supported at least for heart healing this week, even if that's just coming up to a place that feels like, okay, kind of wading through that ocean. I'm going to pull an earth magic card for you as well. Yeah, meadow, which is vulnerability. So like actually being open, keeping things open, keeping yourself soft this week feels like a really supportive move. I'm also going to pull a Whispers of Love. Miracles and blessings. I think that's a very tough thing to have kind of come. I'm sort of being like, Spirit, universe, why would you send that at such a tough time? Because that's like, it's not an easy thing to hear in the wake of, in the wake of a wake. It says everything has its gift. And I wouldn't say that this is, in any way could be labeled that right now, but I would say that the part of you that's grieving is leading you towards like a deeper spaciousness in your heart. because I just tend to see that that's sort of like what strengthens us in many ways. Like we go through difficult things and challenges, and then we come out like, I don't know. I think a lot of people, I think especially someone like yourself, would come out of that even more able to love and to give, because it's like, oh, that's like a big sadness. And then we sort of stretch that muscle, and then we stretch the other. And so there's no rush in this process. But I guess that's the message I wanted to say, is that I think it's interesting that vulnerability would likely keep us more open to shifting into that heart openness eventually. Um, Whereas, of course, there are necessary things of resting and being quiet and grieving, allowing yourself to grieve. I'm going to pull another Whispers of Love. And it does say new love. So I do wonder, sometimes that pull back we do when we grieve, then sends us into transmuting that grief into some kind of creative or art, or just a story, or just like something. And so it says, embrace an opportunity for love in your work prospects or for spiritual growth. And so, as sad as that is, may it be like a smooth grieving process and healing that leads to heart opening at the end of, you know, the waves of this. I'm also getting like a lot of quartz energy. So any type of quartz that you might have around, you can like trust that the crystals can take on some of these feelings and energies. Okay, Alexandra. And Pamela, let me know if that does help, or if you have any questions or things about the cards, if there's anything else you'd like support on. And Jay, let me know how that resonates with you. Anyone else, feel free to get your questions in. You're welcome, Pamela. You're welcome. Alexandra says, what do you think about Mario? I invited him to stay at the cottage property in the tiny home at the back, and he left after one night, then made some promises of helping me bring some cages. I asked him to do it next day, but he said he'll do it Sunday. I resubmitted the need yesterday, but he used the long weekend as an excuse not to do it. He wants to come today and we should go for a hike. I'm sad that he's talking about him wanting to help me, but when I suggest that, he just wants to do what he wants. Feels like I'm being his company. Pamela, what's your question? A lot of quartz. I'm not sure how to read that, but I would like to know what you mean. So, lay it out for my brain. A lot of quartz. I don't think I said a lot of quartz, but quartz. Quartz. My gosh, crystal quartz. I was like, quartz. I don't think I said that. Quartz, like Quartz. So like clear quartz. Yeah. Yeah, it's a type of crystal. Okay, whoa. Yeah, I got it. Jay, don't delete it. I want to read all of that. You should have at least copy pasted. Okay. Alexandra, I feel as though this is already identified by like not being in alignment. Yeah. I feel like it's so, the way that I read it from you, it sounds like, it just sounds icky, right? Like even as I read that description, you feel cheery. If you feel cheery by the idea that someone was wanting something from you that you could not give freely, that's okay. I feel cheated. Cheated. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say you're feeling cheated. I would just say this man is not aware of his overt demanding of your time without, bringing something back. The bringing something back is part of our human exchange, right? Like we give back and forth. We build trust. That's why it's important to have integrity and to value others for what they're able to provide to you where possible. So if you expect that type of behavior back, then indulging something like this for any longer than you already have is just not in alignment, right? It's just not going to work. And so if you were to be like in your body, if it were to feel like, yes, I'd really like to do that, then of course, go do that. But I don't see that being, mm, I think it's like easy. I think it's easy to say that this person could be like taking advantage of you, but I actually just see them being unaware of the impact of like taking other people's time. But that's also because you you do need to say more to say, uh, no, I'm not interested in that. That's just not interesting to me, and kind of put your foot down. I see that he's like, I feel like a lot of things come into your world as like a bit of a distraction, and that taking personal responsibility is much more important than relying on others. But it's just like a really dug in type of pattern that's like, I do everything by myself, and so therefore I can't handle doing everything by myself. And then it makes this kind of like big story up. Whereas like unworking from that, there's like a feeling of like true capability and true belief in yourself to do what you need to do to get where you want to go, and only worrying about you in this equation. And it just feels like there's a lot of people who are around you in this current energy that are like distractions and more like taking energy because it feels like it's available to them, but likely because you're not directing it towards a specific thing for you only. It feels like it has to be focused on self uh, stability, self sufficiency, self stability. This next few sets of moves, I'm going to pull a Whispers of Love card for you. Oh, Sonia, happy to see you live here as well. It is a bit of a different vibe. I mean, I always post so that you guys can always see the weekly collective energy. I read it at the beginning, and then as time goes on, we get more people on. Let me go back to Jay's message. Anyone else, feel free to get your question in. Otherwise, I'm going to head off early and then go to the Soul Circle Oracle. So if you want to join Soul Circle, you have to be a regular client of mine or have taken empath energetics in the past. And you can become a regular client of mine through a number of different ways, which I'm updating actually currently. So by end of day today, it'll look a lot more cleaned up on my site, which I'm real excited about. I love doing website work. I was delaying it for a big time, and I got finally the like push and gusto to do it this week. So excited to open up more offerings and more accessible offerings as well. Just feels good. All right. The only thing that is real is love. So this is for you, Alexandra. It says shift your focus back to love. So shift your focus back to what feels like love and loving your life. Like that, it feels like you to you. What feels like loving your life? What would that look like? In a really small way, could it look like just a certain kind of breakfast that you really want to have every day this week? Plus, could it look like what's your big dream and how are you working towards it? Um, could it also be looking at like doing something positive for your mental well-being every day? Are there these things that you could just put in that feel like they shift you back to love? And if anyone needs suggestions or support in how to add healing into your regular life and to get more out of it so you can get more fulfillment, you can feel more connected to yourself, and then you can do some of this energetic clearing and also mental healing through a variety of different means, then I highly recommend you reach out to me and figure out whether an Align Your Life or Soul Circle or Align Your Business, even if you have a business project or idea, would be of benefit to you. I'm doing pay what you can groups now, so that's a really exciting shift in my business. I'll announce more about it in time. But that's it for Alexandra's. Let me know if anyone else has a question. I'm going to go back and read Jay's comment. I was working on a concept for the interior design of an office a while back, but ended up keeping it aside because I didn't know how to design certain furniture. It was like a forest vibe with a lot of wood carvings. Okay, I might have just seen the desk and like some of it. So maybe you should find the concept again. But it feels like it's its own, what I have to say about it, it feels like it was its own little building, like off grid almost, maybe not fully off grid, but definitely like tucked away somewhere that feels almost like it's on its own, like 1 or 2 rooms even. Like it does not feel very much like it was in a building. So it feels like it was like its own little cabin. Forest vibe with a lot of wood carvings. Yeah, definitely. I am doing forest theme in my caravan, and I'm really looking forward to it. I am not getting rid of these though. These are beautiful curtains. I think they're just like so the vibe. They're like the Scotland vibe because it's almost like oatmeal porridge colored blankets that cover the windows and keep things nice and insulated. Anyway, and the plaid, it feels like kind of tartan like, you know. Sonia, yeah. Oh, Alexandra, if you feel like he's just using you, already done. Like, I do not even need to read any more of that. I will. It says he's just using me as his company to fill his time on the weekend. If that's what it feels like, that feels wrong. That feels wrong, and that should be gone. You don't owe it to every single person that you interact with. And this is not to you, this is to everyone. I have to learn this lesson myself, is that you don't owe it to every single person you interact with to give and give and give, right? There are lots of connections you can nurture that feel like they're able to even sometimes we keep connections because they do teach us a lot, even if we do have the tendency to give more of something, we tend to get then some sort of equal measure of something out of it. And so we keep it, even though it might look strange to other people, if that makes sense. So Sonia, interested in knowing what is my focus for the week for my work? I'm thinking about my new program for July. Let's get an earth magic focus. I was really feeling nature, but I was feeling like the pacing of nature, like the peace of nature. And then I got forest breath. So I'm going to put a strange one in your mind, which is I feel like you need to focus on the forest, and that by sitting in the forest, you might actually come to, just like Newton with the apple, you just might come to a certain few ideas. So, feel free to bring a notebook, but don't sit down there and say, oh, I got to get my notebook out. Just sit in the forest with some breathing on your own and allow yourself. And this doesn't need to be for too long of time, but it is like a really sacred time. And it just needs to be fit in at some point throughout the week, whatever the timing is that you can make work. But it feels like you need to sit in a forest and allow some clarity to come up for you, which, it requires you doing it once, but doing it right, doing it right. You're not going to be doing it wrong either, really. Let me know if that resonates with you. I am feeling very clear about that being like a current focus for your business, is having like you're at the lake for the week over foresty, over a forest, or you're over foresty. I can't always read because I know people are like shortening their comments on YouTube, but they don't always make sense to me in my channeling head. But if you're at the lake for the week, that feels nice. It just feels like connected with a lot of energy. And the forest piece is more like sitting with your back along a tree and being in that silent but supported kind of place. So forest felt very, very clearly important. So hopefully you can get some forest time in, at least for just for that sake. It's very forestry. Ah, good. Okay, good. Very foresty is good. So yeah, that feels definitely doable. Lots and lots of trees. Awesome. Yeah, so that feels like your advice. I would also say don't be afraid to ask the tree. This is much more of a shamanic suggestion. Don't be afraid to ask the tree um, openly with your own voice. There's no one going to be around you, so it's fine to do, but use your own voice out to the tree in a quiet, kind of peaceful place. Ask a question of your tree, perhaps as it relates to your business, but not super specific. This is kind of a good time to be like open, where it's like, let me know some guidance. And then you can let yourself be guided. The tree will guide you. You might feel more wind come through the tree, and then you might receive a thought or an idea. You might look at a spot on the tree and notice, this has happened to me. I was asking about a relationship and I noticed these two spiders and I was like watching how they interacted, and it was really fascinating. And it predicted everything really accurately, actually. The couple of things that I saw, even just looking at the bark. You might look up and there might be birds, or you might look down, there might be worms and leaves and decay, and you might think, oh, I need to get rid of something. It might jump into your mind. There's lots of different ways we can interpret nature. And it's intuitive, like it really feels almost obvious once you allow yourself a moment to listen. So it feels like really, truly asking a tree what to do about something. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to leave this here for today. If anyone is interested in doing shamanic or intuitive work or business alignment work, any type of energetic alignment work with me, then the Align Your Business Pay What You Can group is starting up this month. And then the Soul Circle is still ongoing. So if you have a regular or some kind of commitment with me of how you're going to continue to do work in this field, then you're welcome on into the Soul Circle, where I do live oracle sessions every week and I answer questions for people, and we do these check-ins, but they're more in depth and we have Zoom calls for it. And so the more people that join the Soul Circle, the more Zoom calls I'll create. So there's always an opportunity for you to come by. So that's very exciting. And yeah, Align Your Business, being paid what you can feels really good. And what else? You can still book one-on-one time with me. Just reach out, and hypnotherapy recordings are coming soon. And I'll be talking more about hypnotherapy and subconscious healing the next few weeks, preceding my trip down to Cambridge University, where I will be talking about receptive brain states and their power on community, or something along those lines. So, yeah, wishing you all such a lovely day, such a lovely week. Hoping that your heart is warmed and opened, at least by the end of this week. It feels like a soft time, nurturing time. Definitely catch the beginning of this reading if you didn't. And add me a like, put a like here, or share this out to a friend even if you want. Or out to your feed if there's any videos that you like. That might be more relevant coming up, because there might be more like useful videos to share to your friends. And yeah, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate you understanding as I switch through different things within my work and as I respond to different life circumstances. And yeah, just thank you for being here with me, the Heart's Frontier. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Take care.